everyone. I am going to show you how to turn those yawning live streams into wow. And what we're going to be talking a bit about today is how I have done a bunch of research on Twitch and as well as a lot of YouTube lives, some Facebook live, LinkedIn lives, but mainly on Twitch to find out what makes a super exciting popular live stream show. And I'm going to share with you 8 things that they had the commonalities to help them to really build out their audience and to make that show really interesting so that it's not a yawn fest, but something really exciting and great. So let's get to it. Hello, I'm Charlene. I am the founders of Strength and Numbers, and I help you use strategic live streamings to find your fans online. Now, as I said in the beginning, I watched a lot of Twitch and some YouTube live streams, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn live streams, all live stream shows. And the reason I was very, very curious, especially about Twitch, which is, of course, in the Facebook and LinkedIn kind of world, you would think, well, that's just for gaming. There's nothing there for me, nothing there for me to learn. That is completely not true. These people stream live for literally hours, and it's not only gaming. And even though they all have very different sort of genres as to what they are streaming and talking about, there were sort of overarching commonalities which made their stream sort of popular, as well as I was kind of thinking as me, of course, I was an audience member, wondering why people would watch this. Why would I enjoy watching this? What was kind of the reason for being part of these shows that can, last more than an hour, several hours sometimes. And I really wanted to inject and show you that what they're doing in their streams can be brought into your live streams to make them more fun, more exciting, more interesting, and to add a bit of diversity. Because I find, especially on Facebook and LinkedIn, the most common thing to do is, yes, there is these kind of short videos that I am doing with just me, kind of the talking head, which is okay. And I think just a few minutes, 10 minutes or so, 15, it's not too bad. People are willing to sit through that, but I don't know if they'll sit through a full hour with me like this, to be honest. And so the second most common is interview style, which I have also done. But I find that now it's getting very saturated with the interview style. Also, sometimes I'm not that interesting. And so I thought, how can we inject in some fun and engagement and to really bring the audience into the live stream? So the very, very first thing that I want you to think about when you're going to start a live stream show, even if it's just a 10-minute one, or even if it's going to be a little bit longer, is what is the purpose of the show? And what do you think the audience wants? What does it do for the audience? And thinking about that will really help you to give a bigger arching perspective as to all of these shows that I saw on Twitch and then some of the genres that I watch. I didn't watch any gaming, just to let you know. I watched actually a lot of crafting, Lego. There was tons of Lego builds. There was people biking and through the city and showcasing their favorite restaurants, or I guess bike runs, maybe even. It was kind of a weird hodgepodge, that one. I watched some even kind of like business shows on YouTube that when he was live streaming. There was a lot around, of course, crafting and actually art, and interestingly enough, around video editing and certain kinds of more complex software that takes time to essentially master and do. And so all of these, even though they are all very, very different in genre, all had kind of a very clear reason and purpose as to what they delivered to their audience. And knowing that first is going to help you with building out your live stream show, because then you're not building it from a perspective of which we normally do ourselves. We think that you just want this. We are building it really from the perspective of what is the audience going to get out of this? They are spending time with me. What kind of value can I give? The next thing is that they all, oh, sorry, I had a little typing error there. It was supposed to be predictability. There's a little typing error. Sorry about that. So having a run of show is essentially like, what are the segments of the show or the bits in the show? And it's kind of the same format each time, so that when people come to the show, they know it's going to be this, then this, and they know what they're going to get. And that also helps with another uh, theme that I realized later on. The other thing that I really noticed that these long shows had that I can't really do in these short segments, and this is one of the reasons why I was looking at these, is that they do a lot of tear downs or step by steps or how to's. So they really go into detail on one kind of thing, and they like, for we can do say the Lego brick. Okay, they're gonna build it brick by brick, like literally brick by brick, how and then they talk through, oh, this didn't work, how did I troubleshoot it, the sort of thinking behind it. And I think that is an appeal to people, because giving overarching tips and strategies are great, but often you're left with, okay, but how do I do that, or what's the next step? And having a step by step how to, really showing you how to do it, and also your thinking process, the person who's the expert's thinking process of how they came to that, can bring about a lot of value, and deliver really great content to the audience. The other thing they had was elements of fun and surprise. Some even had physical props, and some even incorporated games. And so I think having these elements of fun and surprise is very important, again, because the show is very long. You need to break it up into segments, and there needs to be, um, you need to think about the arc of the time and the people who are there. They lose interest, they're just watching the screen. And so having elements of fun and surprise really kind of wakes people up. The next thing I noticed is they all injected story, personal story, whether it's the story of just very recently, story in their past. They injected a lot of story. And I think because everybody just loves story, people want to get to know the host better. And of course, story just really helps people to latch onto the ideas much better than plain just talking, right? Guests. They all brought in guests. And maybe not all the time, but it was pretty frequent that there was guests, or it was even co-hosted by two people. I think because, again, it's giving the banter, it's giving that story, it's giving that two levels of perspective. It just makes the show a bit more interesting and a little bit less one-sided. The other thing that was very interesting, there was a lot of comedic type shows on Twitch that I did not really expect, and one was recommended to me. And one host, he actually does his show on Monday, but on Wednesday he does a tear down of the show, and in that he invites the audience to actually help him build the show for the following week. So you not only get an insight as to how the show was built, but the audience has a direct impact as to how the show is going to turn out. And I found that very, very interesting. And I noticed that a lot of live streamers tried to go above and beyond just the Q&A, and to somehow have the audience be a part of the show. And that was a very interesting idea that I didn't really, was a bit of a surprise for me. The last and eighth thing was thinking about content repurposing. And for me, it's, if I'm going to produce content, I always do try to repurpose it to long tail that, because producing any form of original content does take quite a bit of energy and time, more than the 10 minutes that you see here. There is lots of post work and pre-work and post work that goes into this. And so for me, again, that was going back to creating that predictability, that run of show. If designed fairly well, I believe you will be able to splice it into segments and be able to reuse it. It doesn't always work. I think it really depends on the type of show you have, but it is definitely possible. Now, the big summary of this is that live streams can be a lot more interesting than just the talking head in an interview. And there's a lot you can do to really spice it up and bring in not only guests, but bring in your audience to really be a part of the show. And why was I so interested really in watching all these Twitch and live streams and seeing what was going on is because I am starting a new live stream show. It's going to be much longer than this one in terms of time format. It's going to be every Thursday, starting next week at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. So you can either join me for your morning coffee or your lunch break. I'm going to keep it between 30 to 45 minutes. I'm very stringent about time, and I will very much want to respect that because I know you're coming to join me at that time. And I wanted to design a show. I was thinking, oh my goodness, 45 minutes. What am I going to talk about? What can I do to deliver something different, something fun, some value? And so the research of this was for my own show. And so we will see how it goes next Thursday. It's going to be the premiere. I'm going to do my very best, and I plan to have it every week. And it's going to be filled with not just the yawn of the interview or the talking head, but elements of fun, elements of surprise, some very amazing special guests I already have lined up, and and a lot of how tos and tear downs and step by steps. I think that's really just such high value if you can give that, and that's really something I want to give. And there's so much for me to talk about, and what I'm going to talk about, the high overarching theme is the question I'm always asked is how do I find my ideal clients online? That is a huge question. There's so many ways to approach that. I will be approaching it mainly from the perspective of using LinkedIn, live stream, and video. And even though I'm not an expert in Facebook, Instagram, and other forms of platform, I really will support you by bringing in expert guests who can deliver some value in those areas. But I'm very excited. I think it's going to be super fun, and I hope you can join me there. I will put down in the link in the comments down below the link to the stream. You can get a calendar reminder directly into your Google Calendar. It's a LinkedIn. It's going to be on LinkedIn, but you can watch even through Facebook. So I hope to see you there next week, and I will continue my regular 2 streams a week, just like these. So I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys all very soon.